Now I'm looking at the Chicago Bears team. I'm looking at some of the pieces on this team that should stay, some moves that need to happen for this team to get better. Having 4 draft picks in the first 3 rounds next draft, I'm excited about that. Obviously, maybe Ryan Poles gets fired. If he stays, Kevin Warren keeps him, whatever happens with that. I think some moves that need to happen to fix this team, I think you start by deciding on Ryan Poles. That's the first move. You keep him, you fire him, just make a decision. Head coaching wise, leader of men, that's what they've been talking, that's what they want. There's one guy for the job. I think Ben Johnson, he would be a good option, but I think Mike Vrabel is the best option. Thomas Brown, expectations were high. Who knows, he could still go on a run. But I think this team is far past cooked for him to do anything with them. Hopefully he gets another shot, but Mike Vrabel is the guy to come into the building for the Chicago Bears and turn this thing around. He's a culture setter. Tennessee, he went to the playoffs with Marcus Mariota at quarterback, went to the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, who's no longer employed, and was a first seed. This is a coach that embodies the Chicago Bears culture. Great defensive play, hard running the ball, tough, physical team. That's what the Bears need to be. And this is a guy that's going to hold guys accountable. That's what this team is lacking. Eberflus didn't hold himself accountable. And you see the players, they take on the personality of their coach. None of them take accountability. I mean, Caleb Williams sometimes, but you see these leaders, DJ Moore, Jalen Johnson, they're not saying the shit they're not doing. They're saying shit that the team ain't doing. DJ Moore's like, the defense kind of got in this game. Offense, we need to, do something better. But I need more of, I need to be better at this. We need to be better at this. I need more of that. I need to stop hearing this other shit that's been going on. No accountability from this Bears team. Eberflus is staying this team. So Mike Vrabel could come in and just reset all that. He could be the Jim Harbaugh. He could be the Dan Campbell. We see Dan Campbell, his personality's all over that football team. That's a team that, 4 downs. They go for it. They succeed. They get it. The run, they're physical. The run game is there. That's what, Mike Vrabel could bring to this team. And defensively, he's a guy that would have a lot of success with this defense, a talent on this defense, good developer too. So I think that's the right guy to bring in to change things with this team. I think he's a guy that won't get out coached. He's a guy that won't shrivel up and get out coached by Matt LaFleur, Dan Campbell, by Kevin O'Connell. All those guys, those guys won't be coaching circles around Mike Vrabel. He's a guy that has a lot of pedigree in the NFL as a coach. Proven winner. He's won a Super Bowl as a player. So if you're going leader of men, that's who you need to hire. And I know 3 teams are interested in Mike Vrabel. The Saints, the Jaguars, and the Bears. So hopefully the Bears go that route. I would prefer that now at this point because of what I've seen from this team. I know Caleb Williams needs an offensive mind, all that stuff, but we bring an offensive mind in and we still have the same issues. This team could still have a bad culture. So offense could be great, but this team could still have a bad culture like the Mark Trestman days, just not following the direction of their head coach. So Mike Vrabel coming in, Thomas Brown, I would be okay with him staying as OC. And allow him to work further with Caleb Williams. And we'll see what the next 4 games look like, but that's something I would be okay with. And with Mike Vrabel, this Bears team, I think it's a different record. I think this is a Bears team that has more success, and that's in the playoff hunt. Because in-game management, Mike Vrabel is a huge improvement over Eberflus. And I know that's not saying a lot. He shouldn't have even got fired in Tennessee, too. That, all that shit, dysfunction. It was an unfortunate situation, but that's a player's coach, that a guy that's going to demand accountability. That's a guy that's going to hold players accountable, and you could have some success with Mike Vrabel. But whoever's GM, look at this offense. Playmakers are there. The weapons are there. Caleb Williams. I think Mike Vrabel would have success with Caleb Williams. Took Tannehill to the playoffs. Took Mariota to the playoffs. He's had success getting a decent offensive coordinator. Arthur Smith and him were a good combination in Tennessee. So Caleb Williams will be the best quarterback he's had. So I think that's a huge improvement over Tannehill. I think that's a huge improvement over Mariota, even in Mariota's prime. So I think Vrabel could have a lot of success was a young quarterback in Caleb Williams, and he could be a coach that could give him the right confidence he needs. Whoever the GM is for the Chicago Bears next season, I think you look at the playmakers you have the franchise guy in Caleb Williams. Offensive line is where you need to address the most upgrades. I would bring back Keenan Allen. He's had a lot of success with Caleb Williams. Their connection has been great. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Roma Dunze. Roma Dunze should be better next year, but you have all your weapons locked up for the future. Keenan Allen coming back next year. I know he's 32, probably going to be 33 next year, but I really like what I've seen from him the last couple weeks. This last game against the 49ers, it was bad, but he's been a great security blanket for Caleb Williams, and he could help Caleb Williams continue to grow and continue to develop. As much weapons as you can get Caleb Williams, the better. So I really like having a guy like that, a very smart player too, a smart veteran. Huge for this offense. Offensive line, though, that's where you need the most improvement. I think Will Campbell, you have a top 10 pick right now, 9th overall pick right now. Hopefully Will Campbell falls to your lap. I mean, this is a technician. Great technique, sound player, one of the best pass blocking prospects we've seen come out of the draft. 6'6". He's only 20 years old, so he's a fairly young player. He's going to be 21 come draft time. But I really like how physical he is. In the run game, he's improved as a run blocker. So you could put him at, tackle. He has shorter arms, so maybe that might be an issue. But you could play him at guard, and he would be a really fucking good guard next to Tevin Jenkins and with Darnell Wright. So Will Campbell, Tevin Jenkins, Darnell Wright, those are your 3 building blocks for the future. I would re-sign Tevin Jenkins. I know the injury concerns, but when he's healthy, he's a top guard in the league, in my opinion. He brings the tenacity. He's a physical run blocking presence, and he's pretty good in the pass pro. If you have those 3 guys, the rest of the offensive line looks a lot better. But I think you also have to draft a center. And if Will Campbell, you move him to guard or you start him at tackle, either or I'm cool with. I think you need to hope Kyron Amegaji can develop and be the starter long-term over there, and you can have Campbell at guard. I think that's best case scenario because Braxton Jones, he has limitations, gets bull rushed. He can't stop a fucking bull rush. He gets bullied out. He gets bullied way too much. So with that, center and Will Campbell. You need to get a center, maybe the center from USC, really good prospect as well. You need to draft 3 offensive linemen in this draft. In the first 4 selections, you go Will Campbell, you go edge rusher, you go defensive tackle, and then you go center. That you need to do that. Trenches needs to be heavily improved. But if Will Campbell's not there, you go Mason Graham. Defensive tackle from Michigan. Him and Dexter together, oh my God, that would be an insane pairing. And Billings back too. The run defense would improve hugely, immensely. Offensive line, huge improvements need to come. And Will Campbell, that's my dream selection. Him and Darnell Wright protecting Caleb Williams. That's the goal. Tevin at left guard, Darnell Wright and Will Campbell next to each other, or Will Campbell at left tackle protecting the blind side. Either or, I'm okay with. It would be a huge upgrade. Either or. And center Coleman Shelton, he's decent, but he gets thrown around, ragdolled way too fucking much too. So you need to upgrade that as well. That's why I said you should draft a center. The UFC prospect would be nice. I also wouldn't mind taking the Arizona State running back at some point in the draft after those 4 selections. I don't think he'll go too early in the draft, but this is a productive-ass running back. I know he says he wants to be in the Heisman running, but you look at his numbers, he's up there. He's not putting up Genty numbers. Nobody's putting up Ashton Genty numbers, but he's still a really fucking productive running back. And we saw him have a huge game in the Big 12 championship game. That's what I would do to improve the offense. I think that offense is the top 5 offense with all those improvements. Offensive line play would be huge. Offensive line play would be better. Caleb Williams wouldn't be the most sacked quarterback in the NFL anymore. You give him more time, he's able to develop. He's able to, reach his ceiling as a quarterback. And he'll be damn fucking good if he has more time. Did we see the games where he doesn't get sacked 7 times? He's really fucking good. Defensively, build up the trenches, get an edge rusher, get a defensive tackle. Maybe you get a Josh Sweat in free agency. He's been playing really well for the Eagles this year. Add another piece alongside Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat has been disappointing this year. I think, with Vrabel coming in, you would probably switch to a 3-4, but Austin Booker would probably look better in that defense. Sweat has played in that defense before too, so I'm not as concerned about that. We have the players to fit in that defense and in that scheme. Billings, Dexter, all those guys, it'll be fine. The adjustment won't be that bad. So I think our defensive line would probably play better with that defense. So switch to that defense. Robert Saleh would be a dream DC. Probably not as realistic, but that's one of the first DCs hopefully Vrabel calls and, tries to bring over. I would cut Tremaine Edmonds. You save like $12 million if you cut him, and how Ryan Poles structured that contract, it allowed you to, get rid of him towards the back end of the contract. It was a very front-loaded contract, which was great move by Ryan Poles, but his play this year, it's been bad. He's not looked like the player that, he's not looked like the player that's getting the type of money he's getting. Disappointing in coverage, looks lost. Last couple games, he's been getting cooked. And in the run game, our run defense hasn't been good because he hasn't been playing good. If he was playing a lot better, the run defense would be better. Trust me. So obviously, skill set wise, it made more sense in this defense, faster. But Roquan Smith, you're missing a guy like that. Him next to TJ Edwards would have been crazy. TJ Edwards is outplaying Tremaine Edmonds. I think Jack Sanborn and TJ Edwards, that would be way more suitable than Tremaine Edmonds, and it would be cheaper. So that's something I would look towards, moving off of him, especially if we change this defense to a 3-4. Secondary, I'm, confident in the secondary. Maybe add a safety, re-sign Kevin Byard. I really like what he's done this year. It's been one of the bright spots on the defense in the back end. Pretty good leader, pretty good veteran. So defensively, that's what I think you do. You don't have to make as many changes. Just, draft some guys, draft a safety, draft an edge and draft a D-tackle, maybe another edge, depending on how we're looking with picks. But that's all the moves I would make. Let me know down below in the comments some moves the Chicago Bears need to make. But I think in free agency, a Josh Sweat would be nice. Maybe another corner, because Tyreek Stevenson, I don't know how much you trust Terrell Smith to go out there. But that's the moves I would make, right now at the top of my head. I'll do a deeper dive into this when it's more towards the off season and when we know our season's over officially, or when the season's over officially for the Bears. But lots of changes need to come this off season. Just a lot of spots in the trenches need to be upgraded for sure. But I would want him to get an extension done with, Keenan Allen. I would want him to stay with the Chicago Bears for maybe 2 or 3 more years, because he's coming off his best season last year with the Chargers.